My topic is cost plus pricing and detail explain, and let's go to the topic and let's go to the start. Cost plus pricing is a pricing strategy whereby a company sets its price by adding a percentage markup to its cost of producing a product or service. The cost of production includes all the factors that contribute to making the product, such as raw materials, labor, overhead, and other expenses. The markup is typically a percentage of the cost of production and is added to cover the company's overhead costs and profit margin. This approach works well for businesses with relatively stable costs and margins, and who operate in a competitive market where prices are determined by supply and demand. However, it does not take into account external market pressures, consumer demand, or changing market conditions. Cost plus pricing is a pricing strategy that adds a markup to a product's original unit cost to determine the final selling price. It's one of the oldest pricing strategies in the book and is calculated based on just two things: your cost of production, your desired profit margin. All you do is take the costs that go into building your product or providing a service to your customers and add a percentage on top for your profit margin. Every unit sold then provides the same revenue to cover your costs and your profit margin. The name says it all. To use the cost plus pricing method, take your total costs, direct labor costs, manufacturing, shipping, etc., and add the profit percentage to create a single unit price. Cost plus pricing is also known as markup pricing. It's a pricing method where a fixed percentage is added on top of the cost it takes to produce one unit of a product, unit cost. The resulting number is the selling price of the product. This pricing method looks solely at the unit cost and ignores the prices set by competitors. For this reason, it's not always the best fit for many businesses because it doesn't take external factors, like competitors, into account. A cost plus pricing strategy, or markup pricing strategy, is a simple pricing method where a fixed percentage is added on top of the production cost for one unit of product, unit cost. This pricing strategy focuses on internal factors like production cost rather than external factors like consumer demand and competitor prices. This pricing strategy is commonly used by retail stores to set prices. Retail companies like clothing, grocery, and department stores often use cost plus pricing. In these cases, there is variation in the items being sold, and different markup percentages can be applied to each product. If you sell software as a service, SaaS, this pricing method isn't the best fit because the value your products provide is often more significant than the costs to produce the products. The cost plus pricing method is a good fit for businesses that want to pursue a cost leadership strategy. Cost plus pricing can be used as part of the company's value proposition by sharing its pricing policy with consumers and saying something like, "We'll never charge more than X% for our products." This transparency helps build trust with potential customers and allows businesses to build a reputable brand. Cost plus pricing formula. The cost plus pricing formula is calculated by adding material, labor, and overhead costs and multiplying it by 1 plus the markup amount. Overhead costs are costs you can't directly trace back to material or labor costs, and there are often operational costs involved with creating a product. Markup. Markup is the percentage difference between the unit cost and the selling price of the product. You can calculate a product's markup by subtracting the unit cost from the sales price and dividing the resulting number by unit cost. Then multiply the final result by 100 to get the markup percentage. Here are many strategies marketing professionals can use to help businesses determine appropriate pricing for their products and services. Cost plus pricing is a strategy that typically includes a markup on the cost of products and services to determine a selling price. Understanding the concept of cost plus pricing can help ensure you're meeting the company's needs and are considering the costs in your calculations. Cost plus pricing is a pricing method companies use to arrive at a sale price for their product or service. Cost plus pricing takes into account a product's direct material, labor and overhead costs and a markup percentage. This type of pricing works for products, services and customer contracts, where the customer agrees to reimburse the seller for the price of their labor or service plus a pre-negotiated profit on top of seller costs. Cost plus pricing allows companies to sell their products or services for more than it costs them to produce or deliver. While costs can be a straightforward measurement, desired profit margins can differ from company to company. Cost plus pricing and profit margins typically won't consider competitor pricing or market research. Determine the total cost. Add all the associated fixed and variable costs to determine the total cost of the product or service. Fixed costs don't change with the number of units you produce, whereas variable costs do. Fixed costs include leasing or rental costs, insurance or interest payments. Variable costs include money spent on things like labor, materials or commissions. Adding all the costs associated with producing a product or delivering a service can determine the total cost. Divide the total cost by the output. Next, divide the total cost by the number of units you've produced. If you provide a service, you can divide the total cost by the number of hours you worked or some other relevant measurement such as cost per user. This can help you determine how much it costs to produce a single product or deliver a service to the customers. You'd need to charge at least this amount to the customers to recover the costs. Calculate the selling cost. To calculate the selling cost, multiply the unit cost by the markup percentage. To determine the markup percentage, you can divide the cost of the goods or service by the desired profit margin. Consider making the markup percentage higher than the profit margin. The cost is the criterion for the markup percentage, whereas revenue is the criterion for the profit margin percentage. As the cost value must always be less than the revenue value, markup percentages should be greater than profit margins. For example, a profit margin of 20% might warrant a 25% markup. It's simple to use. The cost-plus formula contains relatively few variables. It can allow companies to price their products and services consistently without a lot of market research. It can also be a reliable strategy for small businesses or businesses that don't have a lot of extra time to focus on nuanced pricing strategies. This makes it important that you take care when defining the desired profit margins and overhead allocations so you can be consistent in your calculations and pricing. It's reliable. The cost-plus method ensures you're covering all the costs and generating the desired returns. For example, a contractor who uses cost-plus pricing on agreements with clients can guarantee they receive payment for their services and achieve their profit margin expectations. This eliminates the risk of loss and ensures that customer payment meets the seller's minimum expectations, regardless of what happens throughout the contract. As long as businesses accurately calculate their cost per user or cost per item, cost-plus pricing ensures buyers cover every expense with their purchases. Sometimes, there are additional costs that companies can't predict. Increasing the margin allows you to compensate for missed costs and create a buffer against market fluctuations or uncalculated expenses. It can also help you estimate revenue within a specific time frame based on advertising spending, conversion rates and average sales. It's easy to understand. Another benefit to cost-plus pricing is that it can be simple for customers to understand and accept. As it involves very few components, explaining how you arrived at the price to customers rarely requires a complicated explanation. If a customer has questions about a price increase, the supplier can correlate it to an associated rise in a fixed or variable cost that shows the reasoning for the price change. It requires little research. Cost-plus pricing can be helpful if you have limited information surrounding customer expectations, competitor pricing or market demand. The only data needed for cost-plus pricing are the company's costs and desired profit margins. Suppose you don't have a direct competitor or there aren't similar products within the marketplace. In that case, the cost-plus method ensures you're pricing the product in a way that satisfies the company's needs and reflects the costs that the business has incurred to produce the offerings. In these scenarios, cost-plus pricing can provide an effective starting price you can refer to as you grow your knowledge of the market and the customers. Additionally, this pricing strategy may not be appropriate for businesses where costs vary significantly from one product or service to another, or where there are significant fluctuations in demand. Cost-plus pricing can also lead to higher prices for customers, as the markup may not accurately reflect the value of the product or service. Despite its limitations, cost-plus pricing can be useful for businesses as a starting point for setting prices. By calculating the cost of production and adding a reasonable markup, a company can ensure that it is at least covering its costs and making a profit. From there, the company can consider external factors such as competition, demand, and market trends to adjust prices as needed. Ultimately, the key to successful pricing is to find a balance between profitability and customer demand. It is important to consider both the costs of production and the value that the product or service provides to customers. By taking a comprehensive approach to pricing, businesses can set prices that are both profitable and competitive. Cost plus pricing involves adding a markup to the cost of goods and services to arrive at a selling price. Under this approach, you add together the direct material cost, direct labor cost, and overhead costs for a product, and add to it a markup percentage in order to derive the price of the product. Cost plus pricing can also be used within a customer contract, where the customer reimburses the seller for all costs incurred and also pays a negotiated profit in addition to the costs incurred. Simple. It is quite easy to derive a product price using this method, though you should define the overhead allocation method in order to be consistent in calculating the prices of multiple products. Assured contract profits. Any contractor is willing to accept this method for a contractual agreement with the customer, since it is assured of having its costs reimbursed and of making a profit. There is no risk of loss on such a contract. Justifiable. In cases where the supplier must persuade its customers of the need for a price increase, the supplier can point to an increase in its costs as the reason for the increase. Cost plus pricing, also known as markup pricing, involves calculating total costs, then applying a markup percentage to those costs to reach an asking price. Retail brands aim for a 30 to 50% profit margin. Calculating cost plus pricing is simple. Take your total fixed and variable costs, labor, manufacturing, shipping, etc., and then add your profit percentage. Here's the formula. Cost plus markup equals price. Simple to figure out. You already track production costs and labor costs. Setting the price is just a matter of adding a percentage for profit. Easy to justify. No price gouging here. The cost plus pricing system is fair and non-discriminatory. If you must apply a price increase, it's only because the cost of production and/or direct materials went up. Consistent rate of return. When costs stay the same, you can ensure that every sale covers your costs. Revenue and profit can be estimated easily. Good to test the market. Cost plus pricing is a great way to determine how much a customer will pay for your product. When starting a retail business, you don't have enough data to determine your pricing strategy. You can start with cost plus, get a feel for the market, and refine your pricing strategy from there. Dependent on costs. One drawback of cost plus pricing is potential profit loss. If you switch suppliers or get cheaper materials, your costs will get lower. Strictly cost plus pricing would require you to lower your selling price. If consumers are willing to pay more for the product, you'd be missing out on revenue. Doesn't take trends and external factors into account. If you sell a trending product, you can charge more. If you're only considering cost, you're limiting your revenue. For example, True Religion Super T jeans, a popular upscale denim pant, cost $50 to make, and retail for around $260, a 520% markup. Doesn't take customer willingness to pay into account. If shoppers don't think your product is worth the set price, you won't make sales. Cost plus pricing doesn't respond to competitor prices or consumer demand. Your pricing strategy, then, is based on your target audience, their willingness to pay, and what your competitors charge for similar products. Retailers often test and change their pricing over time, depending on variables such as demand and market conditions. Value-based pricing. With value-based pricing, customer opinion, rather than the product's cost, determines a product's price. Value-based pricing works best for companies that sell unique, high-value products, rather than commodities like groceries. Penetration pricing. Retailers will launch a new product at a lower price to gain market share. To get people in the door, brands are willing to trade off a certain amount of profit for increased customer awareness. Keystone pricing. You arrive at keystone pricing by simply doubling the wholesale price of the product. Retailers use it because it's easy to implement and creates a healthy profit margin. Competitive pricing. By using competitor pricing data as a benchmark, you can intentionally lower the price of your product. This tactic works well in industries where price is the only differentiator, and you rely on it to win customers. It can work well if you negotiate a lower unit cost from suppliers, thus cutting costs, and promote your special pricing. Manufacturer suggested retail price, MSRP. The MSRP is what a manufacturer recommends retailers charge when selling a product. There are a number of different industries that utilize cost plus pricing effectively. Typically, this model works best when there are defined costs involved in production or when the product itself is utilitarian in nature. Here are two industries that traditionally rely on the cost-plus pricing model. Manufacturing companies thrive on cost-plus pricing. Because the products they create have relatively predictable fixed costs, such as labor, machine maintenance, raw materials, it's easy to assign a profit margin percentage using markup pricing on top that sustains the business. In most of these business arrangements, companies sell manufacturing products in bulk to existing customers with a contract. That makes it even easier to build a predictable revenue stream over time without requiring a price increase or decrease. Grocery stores. Think about the last time you went to the supermarket. Whether you were buying apples, cereal, or milk, you probably had a good idea of how much each would cost. That's because grocery stores rely on the cost-plus pricing model as well. A Honeycrisp apple will be more expensive than a Red Delicious because the Honeycrisp was more expensive to buy. Grocery stores also buy products in bulk, so it's likely that they rely on a procurement company that follows the same pricing decision model as our manufacturing example. Pros and cons of cost-plus pricing. While it might be attractive to start out with a simple and easy-to-use model, doing so can hurt your company over time if it isn't a good fit for your unique needs. It's important to understand the benefits of this model, as well as the potential pitfalls before moving forward. Pros of cost-plus pricing. There are a number of benefits to the cost-plus pricing model if you're working in the right market. Fast implementation for just about any product. Easy to calculate. Predictable profit that always covers production costs. Customers understand the justification for your selling price. Cons of cost-plus pricing. The simplicity of cost-plus pricing leads to a number of issues for SaaS and subscription businesses. Makes it too easy to disengage from your price after it's been set. Lacks connection with the value your product provides to customers. Offers no incentive to maximize profits through expansion revenue or adjustments. Makes it difficult to change price when necessary. Use dynamic pricing. For businesses that sell products or services online, dynamic pricing can be an effective strategy. This involves adjusting prices in real time based on factors such as demand, inventory levels, and competitor pricing. Offer tiered pricing. Businesses can offer different price tiers for their products or services to appeal to a wider range of customers. This can include offering a basic, standard, and premium option, with each tier offering different levels of features or benefits. Consider psychological pricing. Certain pricing techniques, such as ending prices in 0.99 or displaying prices in a smaller font, can influence customers' perceptions of value and increase sales. Utilize discounts and promotions. Offering discounts or promotions can entice customers to purchase a product or service, particularly during slow sales periods or to reduce excess inventory. Stay up to date with industry trends. Businesses should stay informed of industry trends regarding pricing strategies and adjust their own pricing accordingly. This can help maintain a competitive edge and keep customers satisfied. It's simple to use. Using a cost-plus pricing strategy doesn't require extensive research. Instead, you just need to analyze your production costs, for example, labor, materials, and overhead, and determine a markup price. The price can be justified. The cost-plus pricing strategy makes it easy to communicate to consumers why price changes are made. For example, if a company needs to raise the selling price of its product due to rising production costs, the increase can be justified. It provides a consistent rate of return. When calculated correctly, the cost-plus pricing should result in all costs being covered. And you should expect a consistent rate of return due to the markup percentage. It provides a consistent rate of return. When calculated correctly, the cost-plus pricing should result in all costs being covered. And you should expect a consistent rate of return due to the markup percentage. The price can be set too high. Since this pricing strategy doesn't consider competitor prices, there's a risk that your selling price is too high. This could result in a loss of sales if consumers choose to do business with a lower-priced competitor. There's no guarantee all costs will be covered. Sales volume is projected before pricing the product, and sometimes this estimate is inaccurate. If sales are overestimated, and a low markup is used to price the product, fewer items are sold, and the costs to produce the product might not be covered. This often results in a financial hit for the company. There isn't any incentive to operate efficiently. If the business bases the selling price, they could potentially make the same percentage from a product even if production costs rise. This eliminates the incentive for the business to operate more efficiently and lower the costs to create their products. When businesses don't adapt their strategies to changing conditions, it's unlikely they'll be successful in the future. With a cost-plus pricing strategy, you can simply mark up your product to determine its selling price. However, you'll want to look at the benefits and drawbacks of this markup method to determine if it's a good fit for your business. It can reduce efficiency. Another potential challenge to cost-plus pricing is its potential to interfere with a company's efficiency. Often, companies aim to lower their operating costs and expenses so they're able to increase their profitability. This might not be possible in contractual ventures. For example, with cost-plus pricing, the suppliers may not reduce their expenses. They may instead add costs to a contract since the company compensates them anyway. It doesn't take into account the competition. Consumers often choose lower price alternatives if they think a company has priced a product or service too high. Customers may purchase a competitor's offering instead. Ignores competition. A company may set a product price based on the cost-plus formula and then be surprised when it finds that competitors are charging substantially different prices. This has a huge impact on the market share and profits that a company can expect to achieve. The company either ends up pricing too low and giving away potential profits, or pricing too high and achieving minor revenues. Product cost overruns. Under this method, the engineering department has no incentive to prudently design a product that has the appropriate feature set and design characteristics for its target market. Instead, the department simply designs what it wants and launches the product. Contract cost overruns. From the perspective of any government entity that hires a supplier under a cost-plus pricing arrangement, the supplier has no incentive to curtail its expenditures. On the contrary, it will likely include as many costs as possible in the contract so that it can be reimbursed. Thus, a contractual arrangement should include cost reduction incentives for the supplier. Ignores replacement costs. The method is based on historical costs, which may have subsequently changed. The most immediate replacement cost is more representative of the costs incurred by the entity. Evaluation of cost-plus pricing. This method is not acceptable for deriving the price of a product that is to be sold in a competitive market, primarily because it does not factor in the prices charged by competitors. Thus, this method is likely to result in a seriously overpriced product. Further, prices should be set based on what the market is willing to pay, which could result in a substantially different margin than the standard margin typically assigned using this pricing method. Cost-plus pricing is a more valuable tool in a contractual situation, since the supplier has no downside risk. However, be sure to review which costs are allowable for reimbursement under the contract. It is possible that the terms of the contract are so restrictive that the supplier must exclude many costs from reimbursement, and so can potentially incur a loss. Conduct market research. Conduct market research to understand the pricing trends in your industry and what your customers are willing to pay for your products or services. Implement a loyalty program. A loyalty program can not only increase customer retention but also encourage repeat purchases by offering rewards, discounts, or exclusive benefits to loyal customers. Use bundling strategies. Bundling products or services together can be an effective way to increase sales and provide value to customers while also streamlining inventory and reducing costs. Offer financing or payment plans. Providing financing or payment plans for expensive products or services can make them more accessible to customers and increase sales. Monitor and track key metrics. Keep track of sales, profit margins, and customer feedback to evaluate the effectiveness of pricing strategies and make adjustments as necessary. Evaluate competition. Regularly assess what your competitors are offering and at what price points to ensure that your own pricing strategy remains competitive. Implement dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing involves adjusting prices based on real-time demand and supply to maximize profits and encourage sales. Use tiered pricing. Implementing a tiered pricing strategy allows customers to choose the level of service or product that best fits their needs and budget while also increasing sales. Conduct A/B testing. Test different pricing strategies, such as offering discounts or raising prices, to see which approach results in the most sales and revenue. Keep pricing simple and transparent. Avoid confusing or hidden fees and keep pricing structures easy to understand to build trust with customers and encourage repeat business. Consider value-based pricing. Instead of simply pricing based on cost and profit margins, Consider pricing based on the value that your product or service provides to customers. Use psychological pricing strategies. Utilize pricing tactics such as round numbers, anchoring, and price bundling to influence customer behavior and increase sales. Offer discounts and promotions. Use promotional pricing such as buy one get one free, limited time discounts, and referral discounts to incentivize sales and encourage customer loyalty. Monitor customer feedback. Keep an eye on customer reviews and feedback to determine whether your pricing strategy is resonating with customers and adjust as necessary. Continually review and adjust pricing. Regularly review your pricing strategy and adjust as necessary to ensure that you remain competitive and profitable in the current market. Use dynamic pricing. Utilize pricing algorithms that adjust price in real time based on supply and demand, seasonality, and customer behavior. Consider tiered pricing. Offer different pricing options for different levels of service or features to cater to a wider range of customers. Bundle products or services. Bundle complementary products or services together for a discounted price to increase overall value and encourage upselling. Implement price matching. Offer to match the price of competitors to keep customers loyal and prevent them from shopping around. Consider subscription pricing. Offer a subscription model for recurring customers to ensure a steady stream of revenue and increase customer loyalty. Use promotional pricing. Offer temporary discounts or special promotions to encourage new customers to try your products or services. Implement loyalty programs. Reward repeat customers with discounts or exclusive perks to encourage them to continue doing business with your company. Utilize dynamic shipping costs. Adjust shipping costs based on the customer's location, time of day, and other factors to accurately reflect the true cost of shipping. Offer free shipping. Provide free shipping for orders over a certain amount to encourage customers to purchase more. Use smart cart technology. Implement dynamic pricing in the customer's shopping cart to encourage them to purchase more items and increase overall order value. Thank you for watching the video and subscribe the channel.